Your trusted food brands are betraying you. While packaging stays the same, the recipes inside are changing. Real ingredients are replaced with cheap substitutes, portion sizes are shrinking, and quality is declining. Why? Ingredients costs are up 40% since 2020. Labour costs are climbing and energy bills have doubled, so food companies are reformulating products to protect profit margins whilst betting you won't notice. Most consumers don't because they never read labels on products they've bought for years. I'm exposing 12 British brands still making real food properly, 3 brands that have cut corners catastrophically, and how to spot reformulations before you waste money. Number 12. Yeo Valley Organic. Yeo Valley is a family-owned dairy company based in Somerset, producing organic yogurt, milk, butter, and cream. While other yogurt brands have been adding thickeners, stabilizers, and reducing fruit content to cut costs, Yeo Valley's organic range maintains proper ingredient lists: organic milk, organic fruit, organic sugar, and live cultures. That's it. The organic certification means they're legally bound to certain standards. They can't use synthetic pesticides on the farm supplying their milk. They can't use artificial additives in processing. They can't cut corners the way non-organic brands can. This makes their products more expensive to produce, but it guarantees that quality hasn't been compromised. What sets Yeo Valley apart is its commitment to transparency and genuine organic practices. Their cows graze on lush Somerset pastures, producing milk that's richer and more nutritious than milk from intensively farmed cattle. Each step of their production process is carefully monitored to ensure it meets strict organic guidelines, from farm to processing facility. You'll notice the difference immediately in texture and taste. Yeo Valley yogurt is creamier than mainstream brands because it's made from whole organic milk, without thickeners padding it out. The fruit content is visible and substantial. A strawberry yogurt contains actual strawberry pieces, not strawberry flavouring with a token piece of fruit. Available in all major supermarkets, Yeo Valley represents a premium but worthwhile choice for health-conscious consumers. Costs around £2 for 4 pots compared to £1.20 for Müller. You're paying more, but you're getting organic milk from grass-fed cows and real fruit instead of skimmed milk, thickeners, and fruit flavouring. It's a testament to the idea that quality ingredients matter, both for taste and nutritional value. Number 11. Piper's Crisps. Piper's is a British crisp company founded in Lincolnshire in 2004, known for using proper potatoes and high-quality oils. Whilst Walker's and other major brands have been reformulating their oil blends to include cheaper alternatives, Piper's still uses specific high-oleic sunflower oil for their hand-cooked crisps. This costs more but produces better flavour and texture. The company's commitment to quality starts at the source. The potatoes are carefully sourced from specific British farms, not whatever's cheapest that season. Each farm is selected for its soil quality, potato variety, and commitment to sustainable agricultural practices. This approach ensures that every crisp begins with the best possible ingredients, supporting local British agriculture in the process. Piper's production method is equally meticulous. Their crisps are hand-cooked in small batches, not mass-produced on industrial lines. This artisanal approach allows for greater control over cooking temperatures and oil quality. The seasoning uses real ingredients like Anglesey sea salt and Somerset cider vinegar, not artificial flavourings and cheap table salt. Each batch is a celebration of British culinary craftsmanship. You can taste the difference immediately. Piper's crisps are thicker and more substantial than Walker's because they're using whole potato slices, not reconstituted potato powder. The flavours are more pronounced because they come from real ingredients. The texture is irregular because they're hand-cooked, not perfectly uniform like mass-produced crisps. Each crisp tells a story of careful preparation and genuine ingredients. Available in Waitrose, M&S, independent farm shops and delis, Piper's represents a premium crisp experience. Costs around £2 for a standard bag compared to £1 for Walker's, but you're getting British potatoes hand-cooked in quality oil, not mass-produced industrial crisps. It's a choice that supports local producers and delivers superior taste. Number 10. Trewithen Dairy. Trewithen is a Cornish dairy producing unhomogenized milk and clotted cream using traditional methods. Whilst major dairies have been standardizing their products and using ultra-heat treatment to extend shelf life, Trewithen's unhomogenized milk is minimally processed. The cream rises to the top naturally because it hasn't been forced through tiny holes to break up fat globules. Their clotted cream is made using the traditional Cornish method, heating milk slowly until the cream forms a crust on top, then carefully skimming it off. No stabilizers, no additives, just milk and time. Compare that to mass-produced clotted cream that uses thickeners and emulsifiers to create a consistent texture. The taste difference is enormous. Trewithen's clotted cream is thick and rich with a slightly granular texture from the traditional method. Mass-produced versions are smooth and uniform but lack depth of flavour. The unhomogenized milk tastes creamier because the fat globules are intact, giving it a better mouthfeel. Available in Waitrose and independent retailers primarily in southwest England. Costs around £2.20 for a pint of milk compared to £1.30 for homogenized milk. The clotted cream is around £3 for 6 ounces. You're paying for traditional methods that can't be rushed or industrialized. Number 9. Dove's Farm. Dove's Farm is an organic flour mill in Berkshire producing flour, cereals, and baking products. Whilst major flour producers have been bulking out wholemeal flour with white flour to reduce costs, Dove's Farm's organic stone-ground wholemeal is genuine whole grain. They're using stone mills that grind the entire wheat kernel, preserving the German bran that contain most of the nutrients. The organic certification guarantees the wheat is grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. The stone ground process is slower and more expensive than industrial roller milling, but it produces flour with better flavor and nutritional content. Nothing's been stripped out then synthetically added back. You'll notice the difference in baking. Dove's Farm wholemeal flour makes denser, more flavorful bread because it contains the whole grain. Mass-produced wholemeal flour often produces lighter bread because it's been blended with white flour, or the bran has been removed, then added back separately. This is proper whole grain flour, available in most major supermarkets and health food shops. Costs around £2.50 for 1.5 kilograms compared to £1.20 for standard wholemeal flour. You're paying for organic wheat stone ground properly, not industrially processed flour with synthetic vitamins added. Number 8. Mrs. Kirkham's Lancashire Cheese. Mrs. Kirkham's is a family dairy in Lancashire making traditional cloth-bound Lancashire cheese using raw, unpasteurised milk from their own herd. Whilst major cheese producers have switched to pasteurised milk and accelerated aging processes to cut costs, Mrs. Kirkham's is using methods that haven't changed in generations. Raw milk cheese is controversial because it's not heat-treated, meaning the natural bacteria and enzymes remain active. This is actually what creates complex flavour in traditional cheese. Pasteurization kills everything, good and bad, resulting in blander cheese that needs longer aging or added cultures to develop flavour. Mrs. Kirkham's cheese tastes like cheese should taste. Rich, tangy, complex. The cloth binding instead of plastic wrapping allows the cheese to breathe during aging, developing natural rind and concentrating flavours. Industrial cheese is vacuum sealed in plastic, preventing this natural aging process. You're tasting the difference between real traditional cheese making and industrial production. Available in specialist cheese shops, some Waitrose stores, and online. Costs around £7 per kilogram compared to £4 for standard cheddar. You're paying for raw milk from a single herd, traditional making methods, and proper aging. This is what cheese tasted like before industrialization. Number 7. Shipton Mill. Shipton Mill is a traditional water-powered flour mill in Gloucestershire producing organic and conventional flour using genuine stone grinding methods. They're sourcing wheat from named farms, milling it slowly to preserve nutrients and flavour, and selling it fresh rather than storing it for months in warehouses. What sets Shipton Mill apart is their commitment to different wheat varieties for different purposes. They're using specific wheats for bread flour, others for pastry flour, matching the grain to the end use. Industrial mills use whatever wheat is cheapest and compensate with chemical improvers. Shipton Mill uses the right wheat and lets it speak for itself. Bakers notice the difference immediately. Shipton Mill bread flour produces better rise and texture because the proteins are intact from gentle milling. The pastry flour makes more tender pastry because it's lower protein wheat milled appropriately. You can't achieve this with industrial flour and chemical improvers. Available online and in independent bakery suppliers, costs around £3 for 1.5 kilograms compared to £1.50 for supermarket bread flour. Professional and serious home bakers use Shipton Mill because it's the only way to achieve proper results without fighting your ingredients. Number 6. Paxton and Whitfield cheese straws. Paxton and Whitfield is Britain's oldest cheesemonger, established in 1797, and they produce traditional cheese straws using real mature cheddar, butter and flour. Whilst major biscuit manufacturers have been replacing butter with palm oil and using cheap cheese powder instead of actual cheese, Paxton and Whitfield's cheese straws contain proper aged cheddar, butter, flour and seasoning. What sets Paxton and Whitfield apart is the cheese quality. They're using mature cheddar from their own cheese selection, the same quality cheese they sell in their shops. Mass-produced cheese straws use cheese powder or cheap young cheese because it's significantly cheaper than aged cheddar. You can taste the difference immediately. The butter content creates a short, crumbly texture that melts on your tongue. Industrial cheese straws made with vegetable oil are drier and have that characteristic cheap biscuit texture because they're missing the milk fats. Real butter in proper proportion creates richness that you can't replicate with cheaper alternatives. You'll notice these cheese straws are irregular in shape and size, not perfectly uniform like factory products. They're made in smaller batches where slight variations are inevitable and acceptable. Mass production demands perfect uniformity, which requires more processing and additives to achieve consistency. Paxton and Whitfield embraces traditional methods that produce slight variations. Available in their London shops, Fortnum and Mason, specialist food halls and online. Costs around £5 for a box compared to £2 for supermarket cheese straws. You're paying for mature cheddar, real butter and traditional baking methods from Britain's oldest cheesemonger. Number 5. Clarence Court. Clarence Court produces premium eggs from hens fed specific diets and raised in better conditions than standard free range. Whilst egg producers have been cramming more hens into free range spaces and cutting feed quality to reduce costs, Clarence Court maintains higher welfare standards and feed specifications. Their Burford Browns are from hens fed a diet rich in maize, producing eggs with deep golden yolks. The Old Cotswold leg bars produce blue eggs from a heritage breed. The Colombian blacktails are fed omega-3 enriched feed. Each range has specific feed formulations designed to produce optimal eggs, not just meet minimum free-range standards. You'll see the difference when you crack them. The yolks are deeper gold and stand up properly rather than spreading flat. They taste richer because the hens are eating better feed. The whites are firmer. These are what eggs should look like when hens are properly fed and cared for, not just meeting minimum. Legal requirements. Available in Waitrose, Ocado and some Sainsbury's stores. Costs around £3.50 for 6 eggs compared to £2 for standard free range. You're paying for specific breed selection, better feed and higher welfare standards that go beyond legal minimums. Number 4. Pump Street Bakery. Pump Street is a Suffolk bakery and chocolate maker producing bean-to-bar chocolate from single-origin cacao. Whilst major chocolate manufacturers have been reducing cocoa content and adding more sugar and palm oil, Pump Street is making chocolate the traditional way: cacao beans, sugar, and sometimes added cocoa butter. Nothing else. Bean to bar means they're controlling the entire process from roasting beans to tempering chocolate. This is expensive and time-consuming but produces chocolate with distinct flavour characteristics from the specific cacao origins. Mass-produced chocolate uses beans from wherever's cheapest and compensates with sugar and additives to create consistent flavour. The flavour is completely different from Cadbury or Galaxy. Pump Street chocolate tastes like the origin. fruity notes from Madagascar cacao, nutty notes from Ecuador. It's less sweet because they're using higher cacao percentages. The texture is smooth because it's properly tempered, not made smooth with emulsifiers. Available in their bakery, specialist chocolate shops, and online. Costs around £6 for a 75-gram bar compared to £1.50 for Cadbury. You're paying for single origin beans, traditional making methods, and chocolate that tastes like chocolate, not sugar with cocoa flavouring. Number 3. Hodmedods. Hodmedods is a British company reviving traditional British pulses and grains including fava beans, carlin peas, and naked oats. Whilst major food producers import cheap legumes from abroad, Hodmedods works with British farmers to grow heritage varieties that are better for British soil and climate. Their British fava beans are grown specifically for human consumption, not animal feed like most British beans. The carlin peas are a heritage variety nearly extinct until Hodmedods revived them. The naked oats don't need dehulling, reducing processing. They're supporting British agriculture whilst providing products that haven't been grown here commercially for decades. The taste and texture are different from imported alternatives. British fava beans are creamier than imported broad beans because they're bred for eating, not yield. The carlin peas have a nutty flavour you don't get from chickpeas or lentils. These are ingredients you can't buy anywhere else because nobody else is growing them. Available in independent health food shops, some Waitrose stores and online. Costs around £3 for 500 grams compared to £1.50 for imported chickpeas. You're paying for British-grown heritage varieties and supporting the revival of British pulse growing. Number 2. Neal's Yard. Dairy. Neal's Yard. Dairy is a London cheesemonger and affineur working with small-scale British and Irish cheesemakers to mature and sell traditional cheeses. They're supporting artisan producers, making raw milk cheese, traditional territorial cheeses, and modern British cheeses using proper methods. What sets Neal's Yard apart is their aging facilities where they mature cheese to optimal ripeness before selling it. Many small cheesemakers can't afford proper aging space, so they sell cheese young. Neal's Yard buys it young, ages it in their own facilities, and sells it when it's properly ready. This adds cost but ensures you're getting cheese at its best. The selection includes Kirkham's Lancashire, Montgomery's Cheddar, Colston Bassett Stilton, and dozens of other traditional British cheeses made by small producers who refuse to industrialise. These are cheeses made with raw milk, traditional cultures, and time. Nothing's been accelerated or standardised. Available in their London shops, Borough Market, and online. Costs significantly more than supermarket cheese because you're paying for artisan production and proper aging. A wedge of Montgomery's cheddar is around £8 per kilogram compared to £4 for supermarket cheddar, but the flavour is incomparable. Number 1. Gothelney. Gothelney is a Somerset farm producing award-winning charcuterie using rare breed British pigs and traditional European curing methods. Whilst major meat producers have been using mechanically recovered meat, adding water to bulk out products, and using nitrites and phosphates to cure faster, Gothelney is using whole muscle meat from specific pig breeds and aging it properly. Their salami contains British pork from Saddleback and Tamworth pigs, sea salt, organic spices, and culture for fermentation. That's it. No nitrites, no phosphates, no added water, no mechanically recovered meat, just pork from rare breed pigs that have been raised slowly and fed properly, then cured using traditional methods. The pigs are from their own farm where they control breeding, feed, and welfare. Most British pork comes from fast-growing commercial breeds fed cheap grain and raised in 6 months. Gothelney's rare breeds take twice as long to raise, cost more to feed, but produce pork with proper fat marbling and flavour. This matters enormously in charcuterie, where the meat quality is everything. The curing process takes months. Industrial salami is made in weeks using accelerated processes and additives. Gothelney's salami hangs in their aging rooms for months, developing complex flavours naturally. You can taste the difference. Real salami has depth and funk from proper fermentation. Industrial salami tastes like flavoured processed meat. The fat distribution is different too. Gothelny salami has proper fat marbling throughout because rare breed pigs develop intramuscular fat naturally. Commercial pigs are too lean, so manufacturers add back fat, creating that characteristic white dots pattern in cheap salami. This is fat distributed naturally through the muscle during the pig's life, available at their farm shop, borough market, specialist delis, and online. Costs around £6 for a small salami, compared to £2 for supermarket salami, but you're getting rare breed British pork, traditional curing methods, and charcuterie that rivals anything from Europe. Now that you've seen 12 brands still making real food, let me show you 3 brands that have cut corners so badly they're no longer worth buying. Number 1, Müller yogurt. Müller used to be a decent yogurt brand, not anymore. Their reformulations over the past 5 years have progressively reduced fruit content whilst increasing thickeners and stabilizers. The current Müller fruit corner range contains modified maize starch, carrageenan, and guar gum to create thick texture instead of using more expensive whole milk. The fruit compartment has shrunk whilst the yogurt portion increased. You're getting less fruit and more thickened low-fat yogurt. The fruit pieces are smaller and there are fewer of them. What you're eating is mostly water, skimmed milk powder, and thickeners with token fruit thrown in. A former dairy industry employee told me, Müller's reformulations are textbook cost-cutting. They've replaced expensive ingredients with cheap thickeners. The fruit reduction alone saves them millions annually. Consumers pay the same price but get significantly less actual fruit and dairy. The price hasn't reflected the quality decline. Müller Fruit Corner still costs around £2 for 4 pots, the same as 5 years ago when the recipe was substantially better. You're paying premium yogurt prices for what's essentially flavoured thickened water with minimal fruit and dairy content. The nutritional profile has deteriorated too. The protein content has dropped because they're using less milk. The sugar content has increased to compensate for reduced fruit flavour. You're getting fewer nutrients and more empty calories whilst paying the same money. Compare the ingredients to Yeo Valley and the difference is stark. Müller lists 15 ingredients including multiple thickeners and stabilisers. Yeo Valley lists 5: organic milk, organic fruit, organic sugar, culture, pectin. One is real yogurt. The other is industrial dairy product engineered to seem creamy without using cream. Number 2, Richmond sausages. Richmond sausages have become infamous for low meat content and high filler ratio. The standard Richmond sausages contain only 42% pork, with the rest being water, rusk made from wheat flour, and pork fat. You're eating more filler than actual meat. The pork that is included is unspecified. No mention of cuts, no indication of quality, just pork. This usually means the cheapest possible trimmings. Combined with mechanically recovered meat regulations, you're potentially eating pork slurry rather than actual cuts of meat. The texture gives it away immediately. Richmond sausages have a spongy, uniform texture with no visible meat grain. Real sausages made from proper pork have irregular texture where you can see muscle fibre. These feel and taste like paste because they're mostly rusk and water bound together with a bit of pork. Number 3, Cadbury dairy milk. And the worst reformulation in British food, Cadbury dairy milk. Since Kraft bought Cadbury in 2010, then Mondelez took over, dairy milk has been progressively reformulated to cut costs. The cocoa content has dropped, palm oil has been added to some varieties. The recipe has changed multiple times despite Mondelez denying it. British consumers noticed immediately. The chocolate tastes different. It melts differently. The texture is waxy instead of smooth. Independent testing has confirmed the cocoa butter content has decreased whilst cheaper fats have been added. What was once genuinely good chocolate is now mediocre. Chocolate trading on a heritage name. The portion sizes have shrunk too. The standard dairy milk bar is now smaller whilst the price has increased. You're paying more for less chocolate that's lower quality than it used to be. Mondelez is maximising profit by trading on the Cadbury name whilst producing inferior chocolate. Compare dairy milk to Pump Street or any quality chocolate and the difference is enormous. Dairy milk now tastes like cheap sweet chocolate with a waxy mouthfeel. Real chocolate made properly has depth, proper cocoa flavour and smooth texture from cocoa butter. Dairy milk has none of that anymore. The emotional betrayal runs deep for British consumers. Cadbury was a point of national pride. People defended it passionately against American and European chocolate. Now those same people admit it tastes worse than Galaxy, or even supermarket own brand. The reformulation destroyed decades of brand loyalty and goodwill. I know this probably feels overwhelming. You've been buying certain brands for years and now you're questioning everything in your cupboards. But you're not powerless here. Protecting yourself from reformulations and quality cuts is straightforward once you know what to look for. First, read ingredients lists regularly, even on products you've bought for years. Food companies bank on consumer loyalty and habit. They reformulate quietly, hoping you won't check. Make it a habit to scan ingredients periodically, especially on products you buy weekly. Second, watch for phrases like new recipe or improved formula on packaging. These usually signal cost-cutting disguised as improvement. Real improvements will be highlighted in marketing. Quiet reformulations mentioned in tiny print are always downgrades. Third, compare pack sizes over time. Shrinkflation is rampant. Manufacturers reduce pack size whilst keeping price the same or increasing it slightly. You're paying the same per pack for less product. Check the weight, not just the price. Fourth, look for ingredient order changes. If sugar has moved from fourth ingredient to second, or if palm oil has appeared where butter used to be, the recipe has changed for the worse. Ingredients are listed by weight, so position changes indicate significant reformulation. Fifth, trust your taste buds. If something tastes different, it probably is different. Don't let brand loyalty override your senses. If that chocolate doesn't melt right or that yogurt has a weird texture, they've changed something. Finally, vote with your wallet. When brands cut quality, stop buying them. Switch to the 12 brands on this list or find local alternatives. Food companies respond to sales. If reformulated products stop selling, they'll reconsider. If sales stay steady despite quality cuts, they'll keep cutting. The brands on this list cost more. That's unavoidable. Real ingredients, traditional methods, and proper aging all cost more than industrial substitutes and accelerated processing. But you're getting actual food made properly instead of engineered products optimized for profit margins. You can't avoid paying more for quality in 2026. The choice is paying more for less of the real stuff or paying less for more of the fake stuff. Choose wisely. Have you noticed reformulations in your usual brands? Are you shocked by how much has changed whilst packaging stayed the same? Drop a comment below because I want to know which brand betrayal hurt you most. And if this video just saved you from wasting money on downgraded products, share it. Send it to anyone still buying Richmond sausages or Müller yogurt out of habit. Your family who deserve to know which brands are still worth trusting. Anyone who wants to eat real food in 2026 when everyone else is cutting corners.